Zips Sports Special.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. On a day in which the football Cardinals played what may have been their last game in St. Louis. Whether it was the last one here or not, the Cardinals won it 27-24 over the Giants, and in so doing, they moved into, believe it or not, serious playoff contention. For a look at how the Cards avenged their worst loss of the season and defeated last year's Super Bowl champs, let's go to Busch Stadium, where 29,000 seats were filled and 24,000 plus seats were empty. Those who showed up, though, got quite a show early on. The Giants in their first possession, punting the ball to Vi Sikahema, last year's Pro Bowl returner. Number 36 sped to the right sideline, turned it up. They say this guy doesn't have speed. Hey, nobody was going to catch him. He whizzed right by the punter, went 76 yards for the score. Cards on top 7-0. In the first 2 minutes of the game, Vi doing the fire dance without the fire. Cards fired up. Giants with the ball. Next possession. Sims over the middle to Phil McConkey. 23-yard gain down to the Cardinals 5. After a penalty set them back, it was Phil Sims going to Mark Bavaro, beating rookie Tim McDonald. Touchdown, 7-7 at that point. But the Cards had plenty of tricks up their sleeve this afternoon. Here comes Roy Green getting into the jet stream on the flanker reverse. Roy with a 26-yard gain deep into Giants territory. And later it was the Wolfman, Ron Wolfley, subbing ably for Earl Farrell, plowing into the end zone. Touchdown, 14-7, Cardinals leading. They could have made it 21-7, but Mark Jackson missed a golden opportunity on a pass that went right through his hands. So the Giants continue downfield. Field goal time for Raul Alegre. It was good, 14-10. The Giants closing, Parcells hopeful. But back came the Cards on the determined drive. It was capped by this low-max pass to Robert Awalt behind everybody, the rookie with 5 more catches, including that for the TD, 21-10 St. Louis. Giants came back, 4th and 1 though. E.J. Jr., Lonnie Young, Carl Carter and company stopped them at the line of scrimmage. Cards took over on downs. Couldn't move it, they punted, but you saw Greg Horn, the punter, go down. Yes, they called roughing the kicker, as you'll see on the replay, no question about it, and the Cards kept possession. And they capitalized on that break. They capitalized on the penalty, taking the ball in. First it was Lomax looking downfield to Awalt for a 24-yard gain to the 14-yard line, and then Stump Mitchell took it in. The Stumper with a tremendous day, 111 yards. He got in to make it 27-10. New kicker this week, Al Del Greco. He hit a dying quail left, no good, so the extra point, 27-10, Cards without it. Last play of the half, long field goal attempt for Alegre from 53 yards out, no good, and the Cards left the field to a standing ovation, leading 27-10 at halftime. Second half would not be easy. Phil Sims came out fired up. He went to Bavaro for a big gain into Cardinal territory early on. Then Sims, who completed 30 of 48 for 359 yards, hit Othello Turner for a 13-yard gain. And then he went to Lionel Manuel, beating Jackson for the score, 27-17, Giants coming back. On their next possession, the Giants looked like they'd roll again. In the third period, Sims rolling to the right, looking to McConkey, 23-yard gain as they moved upfield. They moved into Cards territory, but then a big play. Nico Noga jogged the ball loose, and after a wild scramble, E.J. Jr. recovered for the Cardinals, cutting off the Giants' threat. But fourth quarter, the Giants were driving again. Phil Sims to Bavaro, his outstanding tight end. The Cards were looking for another turnover. They almost got one when Lonnie Young jarred the ball loose, but after a wild scramble this time, the Giants recovered to retain possession. And they then took it into the end zone. Joe Morris cannonballing in for the score. That made it 27-24. It was getting close, but the Cards had enough to hold on. 2nd and 17. Lomax to the NFL's leading receiver, J.T. Smith, for a big 21-yard gain. He had 4 catches today, none bigger than the one you saw there. But Del Greco, after a 9.5-minute drive, killed most of the clock, missed wide left of the field goal attempt, and the Giants had one last chance. Sims back to pass, looking over the middle, but Travis Curtis on the overthrow made the interception to give the Cards possession, and with the help of another roughing the kicker penalty, the Giants never got the ball back as the Cards killed the clock and exchanged pleasantries with their rivals from New York as the clock ticked down and the Cards moved toward victory number 6 on the season. The Cards, who had lost 30-7 to the Giants earlier in the year, avenged that defeat as Leonard Smith, who led the fans all day long in cheering, rejoiced in the victory. All right, I was in the Big Red dressing room after the game, and it seemed everybody was feeling very, very good. I asked Neil Lomax about the thrill of today's victory.
That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling to have, especially, you know, being 5-7 and knowing that this is a very important game. You play the New York Giants, and you're saying, well, now you're going to be 5-8, you know. And I said, hey, no, if we come out and play like we did the first quarter, we're going to win the football game. And thanks to Vi, you know, he kind of gave us a little lead, a little buffer zone, and we just played real well, though. I think our offensive line is playing the best they've played in a long time, as if they're really dictating the game.
Boy, that offensive line did get the job done. You know, in the last 2 weeks, Luis Sharp has played against first Dexter Manley and then Leonard Marshall, and he stymied both of them.
No question about it. You know, they're one of the top defenses in the league, Zip, and we came out, we knew what we had to do. We knew we had to run the football effectively. Offensive line, I think, played great today. We came off that football, we gave Stump some running room, and that's what it's all about. You know, you got to do it up front, and we were able to do that today.
All right, and joining us live in the studio right now is one of those who benefited from the offensive line's performance, Stump Mitchell himself. And Stump, it had to be a good feeling, perhaps the last game in St. Louis, to go out and win one.
You know, if it is a last game we'll play here in St. Louis, at least we went out winners. Everyone dedicated this week to, you know, going out and having a great practice and playing well on Sunday.
You, of course, play with intensity each and every time you go on the football field, but it seemed to perhaps a little extra step in your rambles today.
Well, the past couple of weeks, the offensive line has been doing an extremely great job of blocking. And Robert Awald, he did a tremendous job the past couple of weeks of really aiding us in the area of blocking, and as a result, we've been moving the ball on the ground pretty well.
Stump, we're going to take a look right now at some of your performance today. 26 carries, 111 yards. You're over the 100-yard mark for the second consecutive game against two fine defenses, the Redskins and the Giants. Your comments on some of your performance as you see them here?
Well, the offensive lineman got me into the secondary, so I was trying to break a few tackles and make some yards on my own. Here we get a good block from Broderick Sargent and remain the offensive line, and I made a spin move and got away and picked up about 7 extra yards.
Then we have the touchdown.
A tremendous block by Ron Wolfley on the safety man, and I just tried to get the ball in the end zone.
And you certainly did, 111 yards rushing. You know, Stump, you guys have been under 500 for 9 weeks in a row, and yet you have a very serious chance of making the playoffs. Let's look right now at the wild card situation in the NFC. On top, the Vikings for that number 2 spot with 7-6 record, the Rams at 6-7, the Cards at 6-7. Now, if the Cards end up tied with the Vikings, providing that the Cards win their last 2, they'll be 8-7. The Cards would go to the playoffs. If the Cards end up tied with the Rams would go. But Stump Mitchell, the schedule, as you can see, favors you. You're playing Tampa Bay and Dallas, 2 winnable ball games. The Vikings very well could lose to Washington. The Rams could very well lose at San Francisco. And if those things happen, then you guys will wind up in the playoffs. How do you feel about the chance that you guys may be in the playoffs this season?
You know, it's great. We deserve to go to the playoffs because we've had some bad luck. But fortunately enough for us, we're starting to get some players back. And I think, you know, teams are now worrying about us. I think we will be in the playoffs.
All right, it's been a very trying year, of course. First with the strike, and then with all the distractions concerning the rumors that the team was going to move. How have you guys been able to concentrate week in and week out and stay in the playoff hunt?
I guess it's because we realize that we have no control over those things. The only thing we can do is go out and play well. And if we leave St. Louis, we want to give the fans at least an opportunity to know that we are a caliber playoff team. And, you know, I think if the leaders of this community realize that they're not just letting a franchise go that's now starting to develop, they may do something to keep us here.
All right, Stump, I know I speak for all the fans, but I say there's nothing we'd like to see more than this club in the playoffs right here.
Thanks, Eliza.
All right, Stump, thank you for joining us. All right, that's the Big Red story for today. Coming up, we'll have the scores and highlights from
eliminated themselves from the playoff picture yet. That's right, yeah, with 2 weeks to go, there is still a glimmer of playoff hope. Yesterday, a very big win over the Giants at the stadium. The Big Red took the lead before the offense even touched the ball. Sean Landetta's punt was fielded by Vi Sikahema at the 24. Down the sidelines he goes. He took it up there 76 yards for the score. And then, as you'll see, Vi has a little case of disco fever. Neil Lomax ran the offense superbly. He only threw for 1 score, but it was a beauty to Robert Awalt, the tight end, wide open. It was 21-10 Cardinals. Stump Mitchell anchored the running game. He bulled into the end zone for this score, and on the day had 111 yards. Still, the Giants made it close. In fact, the Big Red couldn't put them away until the final 2 minutes when Travis Curtis made connections here with Phil Simms' desperation pass and the interception, the final 27-24, and what could be the Cardinals' final game at Busch Stadium.
Well, it's very distracting. I mean, especially when you have family here in town and you make your home here in St. Louis. And my wife just had a baby, so I don't know where I'm going to be or what I'm going to do, what the off-season program is going to require. And, we'd like to know so we can make our plans.
The fans that came to watch the game, we gave them a good show. And we didn't let down until the final horn blew, and they stayed behind us cheering right along with me. So I'm proud of the fans that are behind us, and I love them all.